With well over 60 trophies to its name, including 20 Premier League titles, Manchester United are the most successful club in England. However, since the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson almost 10 years ago, they've been on a slow decline, and teams no longer fear coming to Old Trafford. With a certain Dutchman entering the hot seat this summer though, Erik Ten Haag hopes to usher in a new era of success at Manchester United. And today, we're going to see whether he can do it on FIFA 23 as we start a brand new Manchester United career mode. Now, starting this career mode off, the objectives are going to be pretty simple, and that is to repeat the success of the 99 team by winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League, and winning the FA Cup, all in one season. However, the fact that we're only in the Europa League this season just goes to show we've got a long way to go. And looking at the squad, it's not really hard to see why. Now, whilst we do actually have quite a decent starting 11, with most of the players either in the mid to low 80s with a lot of potential, that is pretty much where the potential stops. As looking at the rest of the squad and the reserves, well, they're nothing short of pretty terrible. So most of these players are probably either going to have to go on the loan or the transfer list. Starting off in goal though, with an 87 rated David De Gea in the sticks, we don't really need to improve going forward there. And we do also have Martin Dubravka on loan from Newcastle as well, so he will be a decent backup. But the likes of Radek Vidak, Tom Heaton, and also Dean Henderson, who is already out on loan, those three can potentially leave the club in the very near future. With a 26-year-old 80-rated Luke Shaw and a young Tyrell Malacia at 79 rated in the wings, I'm not really sure we immediately need to improve at left-back either. We've got Alex Telles, who's 29, out on loan as well, and Brandon Williams at 21. I think I will definitely look to get him out on loan as well. Centre-back is where it starts getting interesting though, as United, for whatever reason, have a plethora of centre-backs at the club. To be more precise, they have 7 senior centre-backs, all of whom could play for the club, with the exception of this man Eric Bailly, who's just been sent out on loan to Marseille, it would seem. Now, Raphael Varane, he's obviously my number one choice at centre-back at 85 rated, and also Lisandro Martinez, who's just been brought into the club. Whilst he is only 82 rated, he does have plenty of room to grow and develop. But the likes of Phil Jones, Victor Lindelof, and also Tunzabi can definitely potentially be put on the transfer list. However, the big question is this man, Harry Maguire. Let me know down in the comments below what you think I should do. Should I keep him at the club? Should I sell him? Let me know what you think. With the exception of Varane, though, none of the centre-backs at the club are particularly world-class. So regardless as to what I end up doing with this man, Harry Maguire, I'm definitely going to look to add a centre-back to my shortlist this season. Right back is kind of similar to left back. I've got 2 players, neither of whom are world beaters, but they're not bad enough that I need to replace them immediately. I've got Dalot, who's rated 80, and he's only 23 years of age, so he's got a lot of room to grow and develop. And I've also got Wan-Bissaka, who was taking the world by storm when he was at Crystal Palace, but hasn't really hit those heights since being at United. So again, I'm going to keep hold of both of these players for now, and then look to see what other areas of the squad I need to improve on beforehand. Now, we're pretty much in the same situation in central midfield as we are in centre-back as well. Now, United have got so many different players who can play in midfield, but with the exception of a few, most of them are pretty average. We've got the likes of Bruno Fernandes, who obviously will be a starter, Christian Eriksen as well, and also if I scroll up, Casemiro, the new signing from Real Madrid, will obviously be in the starting 11. But the likes of Scott McTominay, the likes of Fred as well, and also looking at Donny van de Beek, none of these players are ever really going to challenge or get us to the next level. So I'm probably going to stick all 3 of those on the transfer list and then look to see what other central midfielder I can try and bring to the club. Now, up front is where it gets interesting, because United have actually got quite a good young crop of players. The likes of Anthony Elanga, also Garnacho as well, Shotire, and also Palestra as well. All of whom I'm probably going to loan out because they look like they've got some really good potential, but aren't realistically going to feature for me, at least in Season 1 as well. However, looking at the rest of the team, we've got Jadon Sancho, we've got Anthony, who, as you will know from my PSG career mode, hit massive heights for me there. We've got Anthony Martial, and we've got Marcus Rashford as well. So up front, we're not too bad. Maybe we can look to move on Anthony Martial, but I'm not too sure yet. I do think, though, we've got other positions in the team that definitely need upgrading before we look at the striking department. So that means in Season 1, I want to bring in one centre-back that will rival these 2, and I want to bring in at least one central midfielder that can potentially rival these 3 as well. And with £208 million to spend, we should be able to bring in at least 1 or 2 top quality players to add to the squad. However, before I do that, you can see I have a massive list of players that I have added to my transfer list that I want to get rid of before I look to bring any new players in. So let's go through the list, let's see whether or not we can get rid of them, and then let's see how we can improve this squad. And we're starting off the outgoings with something very interesting, as Manchester City of all teams have come in with an offer of £20.8 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And after eventually agreeing a deal with Pep Guardiola, it means that Aaron Wan-Bissaka will be the first man to leave the club in this career mode, and he leaves for Manchester City of all teams in a deal worth £23.8 million. And it means that whilst I didn't initially want to bring in another right back in this immediate transfer window, I'm definitely going to have to, as Dalot is now the only one at the club. Let me know down in the comments below, who do you think I should bring in at right back to replace Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Before we sign a replacement though, the outgoings must continue, and we're starting off with Victor Lindelof. He's off to Juventus for 21.3 million, what I think was a pretty decent deal. Our reserve goalkeeper Tom Heaton, he's off to Turkey in a deal worth 720k to a team whose name unfortunately I can't pronounce. Fred will be leaving the club in a deal worth 18.4 mil to a team in Everton who I feel, unfortunately, no offence Everton fans, end up just picking off all of the players who can't quite make it at top level teams. We've then got a sad day because Phil Jones will be leaving the club finally. He's off to France to Stade Rennais in a deal worth 1.7 mil. We've got youngster Deshaun Bernard. He's off to Moneybags Newcastle for 2.6 mil. And Axel Tuanzebe, he's another youth player who's off to Wolves this time for 3.6 mil. As you can see, we did also get an offer from Seville for over £20 million for Donny van der Beek. He, however, refused to accept it, and he will remain at the club. We also haven't forgotten about our youth players. We've got firstly Radek Vitak. He's gone off on loan for 1 year to Hammarby FC. We've got Zidane Iqbal. He's gone on loan to Nashville for another year as well. Shola Shoture, he's gone off to Genk for another year-long loan. We've also got Facundo Pellistri. He's gone off to Wolfsburg for a 1 year loan. We've got Brandon Williams, who's also gone to Wolves again for another 1 year loan. And finally, we've got Anthony Elanga. He's off to France as well. He's gone to RC Lens. This time, however, for a 2 year loan instead. And with all those outgoings, it does mean that the size of our squad has been massively reduced and depleted. And with a couple of players on the reserves and even in the substitutes bench who could be leaving the club as well, it means we are definitely going to need to dip our toes in the transfer market. And with now £306 million in the budget, we definitely have room to improve this squad. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the episode, I am going to look to make one marquee signing this episode. And then I want to rely on you guys to tell me who else you want me to bring to the club. Now, as you can see, I have shortlisted a variety of different central midfielders, as this is the area of the team that I really do want to make some improvements on. And I've decided that whilst this man is heavily linked with Liverpool, a series of fantastic performances in the World Cup have done enough to convince the United board to sneak in under their noses and to travel all the way to Germany to negotiate a deal for him. And that means that this man, Jude Bellingham, will be joining the club. Our first signing of this career mode, and at £82.5 million for the youngster. What a signing it is. He needs no introduction. 19 years of age, already 84 rated, and he has the potential to be something special. His stats are absolutely off the charts. He's got high attacking and defensive work rate, and he will slot in the centre of the park ahead of Christian Eriksen to hopefully become an absolute monster in our midfield for the foreseeable future. One thing I do want to put some focus on this career mode is my youth academy, and you can see we've already got a few players who potentially could make the grade in the future. Starting off with this man, Daniel Becker, a left back from the Netherlands, 15 years of age, potential rating between 77 and 94. This man also Tibor Kadlec, a 17-year-old Czech Republican who is a right wing back with a potential of 87. And finally, this man up front, Hans Meyer, 15 years of age from Liechtenstein, 6 foot tall with potential of 88. Now, for the time being, all I'm going to do is change the development plan on a few of these players and try and get them a little bit more focused to see if I can increase their stats a little bit quicker. I'm not going to add them to my senior squad just yet, as they are quite young. They're not going to be able to get any game time, and I don't even think I'm going to be able to get them out on loan either. So I'm going to leave them in the youth academy, see how we go this first season, and I'll make a decision as the career mode progresses. So with the transfer business for this episode done, it's now time to move on to our first game of the episode, and it is a huge game at home against our long-time rivals Chelsea. In terms of the formation I'm looking to go with this season, I've got two different options options, as you will see. The first of which is the standard 4-3-3 option with Rashford leading the line and with 3 in midfield. The other is going with more of a 4-4-2 flat formation. This I'm seeing as more of a type of formation that if we are losing, maybe we throw on an additional striker, sacrifice a midfielder and go for broke. The tactics for both of them will remain the same though. The defensive style, pressure on heavy touch with pretty decent width and playing high up the pitch as well. In terms of our build-up play, I want fast build-ups, forward runs, and again, I want us to use a lot of width too. We want a decent number of players in the box, but don't want to overload too much, and the same goes for corners and free kicks as well. Here we go though. The early transfer business has been done this episode. The hard work has been put in on the training ground, and it is time to kick this season off with a massive home game against Chelsea. Personally, I think this is the perfect game to kick this season off, as it's going to give us a real indication as to where we are at and just how much effort we need to put into this team to try and improve it. As you can see, it will be a debut for Jude Bellingham. He starts ahead of Christian Eriksen, who will drop to the bench. As for the rest of the starting 11, as you can see, I have gone with the 4-3-3. De Gea starts in goal, Dalot, Varane, Martinez, and also Luke Shaw at the back. Bellingham, Casemiro, Fernandes in midfield. Antony, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho make up the front three. Reece James gives it to Sterling, who finds himself in central midfield of all places. Aubameyang up front now, just skips away from Varane. Too easy for him. Martinez is going to come across to try and make a challenge. Doesn't get there in the end. De Gea does though, forces a very good save. Chelsea look to go short with the first corner of the game inside 10 minutes, and already they are putting the pressure on here. Martinez just hacks that one away. Chelsea have it again though. It's Aubameyang who turns. It's now Reece James in the box, and he powers it past De Gea. Where are my defenders? I was trying to switch the play. Absolutely nothing happening, and Reece James inside the opening 13 minutes gives Chelsea the lead in front of our fans, and this is an absolute disaster of a start for us. Sterling has it again, this time on the left-hand side, looks for Chilwell ahead of him. Is Chilwell offside? Fortunately for me, he is. It's Jude Bellingham with his first real opportunity to try and drive forward here in this game. He's been pretty quiet so far, but he's done a really good job of laying the ball into Bruno Fernandes, who then just gives it away. Gives it to Rashford, though. He can't get past Azpilicueta. Chelsea can break again. This has been a really poor opening 20-25 minutes from us. It's Aubameyang who turns really nicely, looking into the run of Kovacic. It's Martinez who's trying to hold him up. Kovacic into the box. De Gea with a big save, scrambled all over the place, and De Gea eventually manages to collect it. We are all over the shop here inside the opening half an hour of this half. Casemiro now looks for Antony on the right-hand side. He's managed to stay on side, drives into the box, looking for an option, finds an option, ends up finding Azpilicueta, I think it was, and Chelsea can just about get it clear. That's our first opportunity of the game. Kovacic into Mount, into Aubameyang, nice ball into Sterling. Varane's trying to chase him down. Sterling into the box again. Oh, that is sensational. What was Varane doing? Sterling just gave him the runaround, and he powers it past De Gea. It is 2-0 inside the opening 34 minutes. We are all over the shop. Bellingham picks it up. He's got space in front of him. Finds Marcus Rashford. He's trying to shift it onto his right. Can't get past Koulibaly. Chelsea like a brick wall at the back here as their centre-back brings it out. It's Aubameyang now. We're just all over the place here. Chelsea just completely overrunning us in every department. Kovacic lays it into Aubameyang for 3. It is 3. It's a lightning counter-attack. My defence is an absolute shambles, and Chelsea are 3-0 up here inside the first half. It is Chelsea to kick us off in this second half, and I don't think I've been so comprehensively outplayed inside 45 minutes as I have today. Chelsea lead 3-0, and it just goes to show how much work needs to be done here at Manchester United. Jorginho bursts through the midfield, gives it to Mount on the right-hand side. Aubameyang gives it back to Jorginho. What are my defence doing? I'm doing the player switching, and fortunately enough, Martinez comes to the rescue. Bruno Fernandes now. Bruno Fernandes to stretch away in midfield. Gives it to Jude Bellingham, who's picked up a nice little pocket of space. I was looking for the run of Antony. No one's showing. Jude Bellingham goes inside for Rashford. Koulibaly reads that one so well. He's been an absolute rock at the back. Definitely better than any of my defenders. And Chelsea can try and stretch away again. Jorginho into Aubameyang. He gives it away to Rashford. Bruno Fernandes. Can we now try and strike a counter-attack here? Bruno Fernandes just caught up into Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham now to try and drive forward. I'm going to strike from distance. Straight against Chilwell. Looks for Jude Bellingham, who's picked up another nice pocket of space here. Bellingham tried to play it into Rashford, couldn't quite find him. Chelsea can again strike a counter-attack. This time Varane does come across and blocks off the run of Aubameyang. Thiago Silva into Aubameyang. It's Mason Mount. Chelsea searching for a fourth to put this game well and truly to bed. Aubameyang, oh, into Mount, and he smashes it past De Gea for 4. Chelsea running absolute riot here. They made it look easy. Lovely pass from Mount into the path of Aubameyang. He just laid it back off into Mason Mount. My defence carved wide open, and Mount absolutely smashes it with his left foot. De Gea rooted to the spot. 4-0. Shaw, Fernandes, nice one touch into Sancho. Sancho tried to play it across, blocked off, and that is pretty much the story of this game. Going to be Anthony with the corner. I have switched to 4-4-2 to try and see if I can carve out any sort of decent opportunity. I've only really been able to carve out one so far in this game. Anthony dinks it over, looking for Bruno Fernandes. Can't quite find him. Jude Bellingham heads down to Rafael Varane. He gets blocked off by Kovacic. It's Jadon Sancho who picks it up into Bruno Fernandes, who's now picked up an injury. And he just gives it away to Reece James, and things are going from bad to worse here. And that is it. The referee blows the whistle. He puts me out of my misery. It's been a complete disaster. It's 4-0 Chelsea. And what a way to start this career mode off. We sit 19th in the Premier League table after just one game. We're in the relegation zone. We've got a -4 goal difference. It's been an absolute disaster. That is where I'm going to leave it for today. As I said, let me know down below, who do you want me to bring in? I need a centre-back, I need a right-back, and to be honest, I just need all the help I can get. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.